Hi there, this is Catherine. Thank you so much for turning in to another episode of the Digital Marketing Victories podcast. Before we get into this month's episode, I just want to share with you the ways that you can support the podcast if you're finding the episodes helpful. You can send me a donation at buymeacoffee.com/DMV podcast. Any and all level of donation would be very much appreciated. Help me offset the cost of producing the podcast. I'd also encourage you to subscribe to our newsletter so that you don't miss a future episode or any other news about the podcast. And to do that, you go to wostrategies.com/newsletter. Okay, on with our episode. Welcome to the Digital Marketing Victories podcast, a monthly show where we celebrate and learn from the changemakers in digital marketing. Great digital marketers understand that people are the most challenging part of doing their jobs. And this show focuses on the people part of digital marketing wins, what tactics or skills the guests use to align people with their marketing strategy. I'm your host, Catherine Watsier-Ong, the owner of WO Strategies, LLC. We focus on increasing organic discovery for our enterprise-sized, science-focused clients. Thank you for joining me. Let's get into it and celebrate our victories. Today, we're joined by Adrijana Vujadin. She's a SEO manager at Affirma. And on the side, she coaches SEOs to build their confidence. So this show is going to be perfect for you if you want to learn more about imposter syndrome and whether or not you potentially have it and how you might be able to overcome it, and how you could, other strategies you could use to build your SEO confidence. So Adriana, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me.
All right, so I'm very curious about, your background in general, because I love how SEOs find SEO, because there's always different stories there, and how you got into digital marketing. But particularly, can you also tell our listeners how you got interested in imposter syndrome and the side coaching you're doing?
Yeah, definitely my story about entering the SEO and like PPC, it's kind of like boring because nothing too much. I was having some internships, doing my master programs, and then I realized that I really like PPC and SEO. Then I did some different courses, but actually what is interesting about entering like these kinds of like mindset things is actually that I was struggling a lot in my job with imposter syndrome, with confidence. I'm not native English speaker, so my English was terrible, and like I was having struggles with that. And after 2 years, I was in the current SEO job. I realized that like I can't do anymore. Like I was so exhausted. Like tired of everything, tired of like being sitting here and sweating every day. And I wanted to quit my job and just like go to Bosnia because I live in Dublin now. Because I tried everything. I was learning SEO. I was doing different courses, but I realized that every day I'm so nervous. I'm so stressed. I'm frustrated by all these like Google updates, Google things, whatever. I don't know. Like everything was like kind of stressful for me. And in the first glance, I was thinking like, yeah, like I'm entering the adult world. So probably that's the way how it is. And everybody is stressed. So probably I also should be stressed. Like there is no other way because you will not hear that actually someone is not stressed. So I was thinking like that's normal. But honestly, after 2 years, like I couldn't do more. Like in that time, I didn't know, but I was in the burnout. I found that afterwards, but I took 2 weeks of vacation just like to take some like mind thinking and like see like what I will do after, like how I will approach my manager to say that I really can't handle like all these like SEO clients. And then a very weird situation happened on that vacation because I started to read a book, Edgar Tolle, The Power of Now.
Mhm.
And I read that actually you can control your thoughts. And I was like, no, you can't, because like when I'm frustrated, when I'm stressed, like it's the way how it is. I can control my stressful situations. And then I was talking with my best friend, and he introduced me some life coaches. Then I started reading about this. Did mindset coaching with my coach, and after a few months, I was completely like blown away about the power when you are working on your mindset. Because before that, I heard people are mentioning the right mindset, successful mindset, but I didn't know like what that means. after I did some kind of like mindset exercises, being familiar with myself, how to actually handle all these feelings, how to handle stressful situations, and in the end, how to reduce stressful situation, then I was able to actually kind of like breathe. And then, like on my current job, and basically the job is the same for almost 3 years. But now, how I'm handling all these things is that even like I'm having like more responsibilities are actually, I can't say that are stressful. Definitely, I have some stressful situations, but with the mindset things that I did with these mindset coaches, like how I'm able to now clearly see the situation and kind of like divide myself from the situation and then make better decisions. And then you know that when your work is not impacting your health life, your mental health, and the personal life. So that is moment when I saw how powerful all these things are. And then last year I decided like all SEOs really need to know that, because I really want to share all my knowledge that I have learned with these people. So basically that I'm doing now. Besides, I'm full-time SEO manager, but also I have my clients where we are working one-on-ones, and I'm teaching them all these mindset things that I have learned.
No, that's great. So, your work background though, was it in-house or just agency? It sounds like it was
Just
agency.
agency. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah. All the
yeah.
time agency.
And how many clients were you trying to handle?
Currently 10, around
Yeah.
10, like 9, 10.
Just a lot. I mean, it's just a lot. Anyway, as I started my own consultancy, I realized that if I got over 6, I'd forget one. That was my limit. I was like, I can't do more than 6 because I want to make sure
Yeah.
everybody's top of mind. And I would sit there and do the list and be like, shoot, which one am I forgetting?
Yeah. An interesting thing is actually before I had definitely like less clients, between like 5, 6, and especially when I started, I was handling a few of them. And
Mhm.
interesting part was that like back then it was harder for me to handle 5, 6 clients than now I'm handling like 10 clients,
Huh.
because that is like kind of like blow mining thing,
Yeah.
because that is always I'm saying like my clients, basically I'm 3 years in the same company. Less, you know, when you're starting the new job, like you don't have like huge responsibilities, you have like your own lead on the project, so basically you are not so responsible. Even it seems that you are only responsible in time, but
Right.
that's the thing, like when you are having like the proper mindset, then I think I can handle like even more, because they are not stressing me. Like they are stressful situations, but like they are not stressing me, like my body, and like that's the key.
So, when I was younger, I definitely had similar problems with getting overly stressed by work situations. And then I worked at the Points of Light Foundation, and part of what I did was help um, people that are recovering from natural disasters. Like a piece of it was folks that were helping with hurricane recovery. And it just gave me a unique perspective. And so after that, I was like, okay, people are not dying.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah, we are not
not that
doctors.
important. They all have their houses. They're not dying. They're not in like high levels of water. Anyway, it gave me a little bit more perspective. So your coaching clients though, are they all, I'm curious about whether or not the stress level is equal between in-house and agency. Do you see more agency folks or in-house folks?
Yeah, I would say maybe more agency, but I think the stress is just different.
Yeah.
We even it seems that definitely like when people are handling like more clients, they are having like different kinds of stress, but also in the house, the pressure from the in-house, and like uh, it's just like the stress, but in different format,
Yeah.
because
Yeah, that makes
people
sense.
usually they don't have resources, they can't do a lot of things on their website, they can't implement a lot of SEO strategies, but the stress of pressure that they need to provide results is a huge, because you know, like when you're handling like different clients are there for a few months, for a few years, they are leaving, you're getting new ones, you're getting like new kind of like vibration, like new energy. But once you are in the house, you are always in the same energy, and sometimes it can be even like more kind of like trickier to go out because people are in the same company for 3 to 4 years, the same energy and everything. Once you are having a client, you are at least like you are breathing a little bit like in different ways. So but we also know like what's the consulting, and when you're having agency work, like how much stress that is bringing. So I wouldn't say like it's just like it's different, but everybody's stressed.
Yeah. All right. So then I have another question because this is my personal theory on things. So I was reading that more female executives experience imposter syndrome than men. So 75% of female executives have imposter syndrome. So why do you think more women are having trouble with imposter syndrome?
Yeah, I think that is the most common question that I'm getting. And firstly, people don't know that they are having imposter. So if you know that you have imposter, then at least like you are on the level 2, because a lot of feelings, kind of like I'm calling that symptoms of the imposter, like self doubts, feeling that you are not good enough, feeling that you need to over deliver, feeling that you need to overwork, feeling that you need to do like everything at once as soon as possible. Those are the symptoms of the imposter syndrome. So, and people, they don't know that actually that is something that you can fix. You don't need to kind of like feel in that way. So I would say like when it comes to men and women, even I have like basically the same percentage of like people. And like a very interesting thing is actually in the first few months, only men were coming to me. So I was
Oh,
like, wait, I
interesting.
like, so that was interesting. I think the females are just in that kind of like nature that firstly they are even like more aware of this things, because like they have kind of like a bigger impact and like highlights their feelings, so it's kind of like easier to detect that you are having imposter syndrome. On the other hand, like men, they have like different kind of like expectations of them, and they are handling like in different ways. And all these things are coming from the early childhood, because like parents are telling boys like you don't need to cry, you can't cry. They are playing like different games, they are fighting with each other, and just like with the nature of like as it is, like they are kind of like they are becoming more and more like I can't say like stronger, but they are just like exposed more, so they overcoming in different ways. And then like imposter syndrome for women, like that's kind of our core belief from young childhood, from when our parents are comparing us to others, from boys to, and then it's just like growing and growing.
Yeah, that's systematic female suppression.
Yeah, yeah,
So I'm the weird one that I had a unique upbringing and had confidence at an early age, partially genetic. I think my mom had a lot of
nice.
confidence, but then they also set me up to build the confidence. And I'm always thinking about it because I got 2 daughters and I want to make sure that they don't have this problem with confidence. And mind you, it helps that they're homeschooled because they're not running into stuff in the outside world at an early age that kind of knocks their confidence back. But anyway, this is why I'm obsessed with it, because I don't have the confidence problem. And I'm always
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure out what is that piece? Why don't I have the confidence problem? And how do I make sure my girls also don't have that confidence
Yeah.
problem?
Usually, the biggest impact has been made by our parents. If your parents were encouraging you to test different things, when you fail, they didn't like argue with you. They didn't kind of like being noisy, like, why did you make mistake? Don't, if they didn't like, if they put you like encourage like in the wins, like, yeah, you can do whatever you want, then definitely like there is not likely that you will get like so much kind of problems with confidence, but also a lot of other factors are impacting that. And yeah, as you know, like you don't have a problem with confidence, but then you have other problems. So I'm always saying we are all screwed up. It's just like in the way, like in different ways, but like
Well, and I think you could be confident, but you go into the workplace and it depends on your workplace experience. Some of them could definitely cause you to question things. So,
yeah.
and I don't, everybody's got a different workplace experience too, right? And so as a marketer, mine I think this is average. I was in-house for a long time, and a lot of them was relatively short, especially since I worked at nonprofits. So nonprofits have a lot of turnover, so do marketing people, because you're trying to make more money and you can if you stay, And so like I had these short moments, but they were all different. So I had variety. It was kind of like an agency, right? So I had all this variety. And so yeah, I had a couple that were crappy, but I could look back to the one that was good. Be like, they loved me. I rocked it. This place doesn't love me. I'm not rocking it. Maybe it's not me,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
right? But
Because
you need to have the
95%
perspective.
will think that actually it's on them. It's not the
Yeah.
environment, it's on them. And then kind of like it's core problem because you're not doing anything about it because you're trying to even like prove yourself even more, you're working even more. But then like another side is just not providing you what you need.
Yeah, I think the workplace culture part is huge. Like you could be a top performer, but if you end up in a place where you don't vibe with the workplace,
Mm-hmm.
you could fail, and it's not you. It's the
Yeah.
workplace, right? Could be your manager, could be a lot of other things that were set. Like for instance, I ended up in places that always needed a big pivot. I was the disruptor person. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes if you go in and they're willing to like pivot from old school whatever to digital marketing and they're ready and you have a good manager that's supporting you, you could possibly make that happen. But it's a high failure kind of situation generally across the board. And so I had a couple where I'd walk in, they want to do digital marketing and they say they want to, but they don't actually really want to, and then you fail. And I had enough perspective to realize, mind you, this was after a little bit of time on this one failure one. So I got let go, or I left about the same time, right? And then it was, I want to say it was months later. There were two of these instances where somebody who worked there or who had history of the organization knew I was upset about the fact that I lost the job and reached out to me and gave me the background so that I would feel better. So, like in one instance, they're like, "You realize that you were the sixth person with that title they hired."
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Then maybe it's
Then
not me, right? And
yeah.
they were all short tenure. You're like, "Oh, they weren't ready. It wasn't me." Anyway, I just think that sometimes top performers get worried about that kind of stuff, and it's just not you sometimes.
Yeah, that's
Um,
the thing with our brain pattern because like even like people who are struggling with these, in the end of the day, when they sit with me and when we are like we have some kind of like checklist and like when we are analyzing their situation, in the end of the day, they know that it's not about them.
interesting.
But it's just like people don't take like few moments and analyze the situation, what is really happening, because like we are sometimes angry about something that is not real because like we make some assumptions, like we don't want to have like more information, and like we are angry about something that like it's not even accurate in the like 100%. So basically because like especially like SEO community, everyone is encouraging just like learning more, networking, like reading, testing different things. Like people are not putting themselves like in the first place. Like let's see what is really happening here. They will likely read more or learn more to prove some that their work is like valuable. Then just like take 1 hour and like see, is this what is happening in my like current company is like toxic for me, is about them, it's not about me, like I'm valuable, I'm proving my work, I don't need to work like 10 hours or something like that, because they just like, and when it was the last time when you sit with yourself like with 1 hour journal or something like that. So people are just like with this crazy, like I don't know what is happening in the world, like people don't have time for themselves, everyone else and every project, every client is more important than ourselves.
Mm. So I wonder, we're going to be releasing an episode. I'm not actually sure whether it's before yours or after yours, but I'm going to be talking to somebody about mentoring. So stay tuned for that episode. But I wonder if the folks you've got that you're helping, do they have mentors? So that was the key for my perspective sometimes with some of my issues along my career
Mhm.
was interacting with my mentor, and she gave me perspective.
Yeah,
Um,
usually they don't. Usually they don't. So also there is a difference between like technical mentor and mentor who is helping you with some kind of like your attitude, soft skills or something like that. Having a mentor is a great thing, and that is something that I had like when I started SEO, the best thing ever, because you are willing to learn much more faster, and also you are acquiring a lot of new perspectives from your mentor. But after sometimes when you are entering your kind of like own world, then definitely I'm always encouraging having a different kind of mentor that is not just like technical, that is helping you
Oh,
with
yeah.
like these soft skills.
Mine was more career oriented and focused towards soft skills, and she helped me as I moved through my journey. Different. I met her at one job, and then as I moved different jobs, and then as I moved from working for someone else to working for myself, she actually gave me a bunch
Nice.
of tips. It was great. Um, so yeah. So let's talk a little bit about confidence, because I also feel like it's a double bind when it comes to confidence in the workplace. So, and I've particularly experienced this. So, male leaders are usually rewarded by having confidence, even if it's misplaced. Like they could be totally incompetent, but if they're confident, they get rewarded. But women are often not, or often have issues demonstrating work confidence in the workplace in a way that gets rewarded. Oftentimes, if you're too confident, it actually backfires on you. So, what kind of experience have you seen with that?
Yeah. So firstly, like females are we just in general, like they are struggle to take new opportunities, new big projects because like they are thinking they are not good enough for even like new kind of like leaderships positions. Also, like when there is a funny story, like when women are want to apply for a job, they are just finding like why they can't enroll that job, and then
Mm,
male like they are not reading, they will just like apply and like that's it. Like of course like they are like differences, but like there is kind of like general sense around that. So for me and my personal experience is I didn't experiencing like anything like this, so I was able to like progress in my leadership positions like once I was acquiring all these like soft skills, and what I'm making jokes like when I put like all this money in my head like to work on my mindset, and I was able to progress with my career and everything. Women are just like struggling with taking like these kinds of like new opportunities. Definitely we need to add a lot of things that one female needs to handle besides the work, besides the all these things, not just like project related. So I think kind of generationals and culture things are putting that like maybe more in advantage for males and like disadvantages for females.
yeah. Do you coach your genders differently? Because I do think that there needs to be a different approach for women to assert themselves in the workplace for it to not backfire.
Yeah, I'm coaching them on the way they would like to get, and definitely like our base is working on their feelings. For example, fulfillment for a male and female. It's not just like gender related, because I have some male people who are want to feel just like fulfillment. They don't want to progress in their career. They are not dreaming about some directors roles. It's just like depending on the personality. And what I'm seeing, like that doesn't mean that male will need and will want to kind of progress in their career so aggressively, or just like a female. Also, I think my target audience is very specific, so I'm just like attracting like all these people who are firstly looking for that kind of like success and fulfillment in the work.
Mhm.
Definitely like high achievers that are just looking for success without any kind of awareness about their feelings will not come to me, because like it's just like energy that we are kind of like getting, and like what they are getting from me. So I think my probably metrics will be biased, because it's a very specific audience that is coming to
I do
work with
think
me.
SEOs are unique in that there's this individual contributor path, right? Where you keep getting to do the work, which is totally my
Mm-hmm.
my bias. It's what I ended up doing. But you can also have a path where you started as in doing the work, but then you decide instead you'd rather manage, which means you're doing the work
Mm-hmm.
less and you're managing more. And I totally had that opportunity at Catch. I remember talking to my boss about it, and I was like, I don't want to do that. I like the work. That's why I'm doing it. But yeah, there is that distinct, I think, difference. Might be more strong than other. Well, I don't know. I
Yeah.
suppose if you're doing website development, maybe it's the same thing. Like people really jam and want to keep coding versus
Yeah.
managing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, my
Um,
people are usually SEOs, and like interesting thing is actually they are, for example, in the first few years, definitely regarding different backgrounds, but they would like to just like do the work. And then
yeah.
after 3 to 4, 5 years, then they would like to even like a little bit manage people. And then after more years, they would like to even like enroll the world of independent SEO consultant. But every period has different struggles.
Right. This is very true. It's very, very true. Especially when you decide to run off and do your own thing. There's totally other things you're going to be worried about.
Yeah. And even you
Um,
are confident in the full time, or doesn't matter like agency or the in-house, when you are moving for that like independent SEO consultant role, then again, like a new way of the confidence is on your way and you are struggling with imposter syndrome, like how you will do that, like will you able to find new clients, run the business, because like once you are moving from the full time, you are kind of like even like business owner and SEO consultant.
so let's rewind just a second, talk a little bit more about this imposter syndrome. So I was doing a little bit of reading. It seems like maybe there's 5 types of imposter syndrome. Are you seeing sort of different variations of it? Or is it all sort of the
Mhm.
same? And do you would approach it the same?
Yeah. Yeah, the different, also interesting thing about imposter syndrome is regarding the location. So I'm always taking example, for example, imposter syndrome from third world countries, for example, from Bosnia, then imposter syndrome from, I don't know, UK, and then like imposter syndrome from the States. So we all, three of us, we will have like imposter syndrome. But the background that imposter syndrome is coming is totally different. For
Mm,
example, third world countries, like we have facing the kind of like survival mode, just like getting the job, getting the money, getting like all these things. For example, in the UK, it's a little bit like different. Imposter syndrome, just like they are getting a feeling that they are not good enough because the market is like saturated, so many kind of like SEOs, and then like states people, like they have different kind of like mindset first about the money, and then also like they would like to start something new. They are more likely to start even their own SEO agency. But again, like imposter syndrome is different because it's just like kind of like location, parents, family, like background, all these things. But the same thing is imposter syndrome, but the background is totally different. So it's so interesting to see.
So do you, I'm assuming you provide different processes to help folks from those different backgrounds?
Actually, processes are the same
Oh, okay.
because we are processing feelings. We are discovering why you are feeling that. So it doesn't matter like where you are coming from. The kind of like the process will be the same, and that is kind of like finding your core value why you are thinking. So also you can come from the states, and your background is, I don't know, something that you are feeling more for survival mode. So feelings, I'm calling that like core beliefs, like why you are thinking in that way, is that what we are discovering. Once we discover that core belief behind imposter syndrome, then we are working on the checking that core belief, because as I mentioned before, we have some just kind of like beliefs that they are generic, like we are not questioning themselves. And then once we are discovering that core belief and analyzing, then we are starting in that kind of like process of moving people from feeling that they are not good enough to awareness stage and getting the confidence that definitely like all these external factors as a work or something like that that is stressing them is not that they will be impacted their imposter syndrome and the feeling that they are not good enough. So in the end, it's very simple. but just like people are not talking about these things. Coaches and life coaches are having, like, especially in the Europe, more kind of like negative tendency. I know that like in the States, definitely the space is a little bit different. But again, like here is kind of like culture that, is just like work, 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 work. Don't do like anything around your feelings, people. It's just the way how it is.
Mm. So how are you helping people overcome these deep hidden beliefs? Are you giving them uh, a mantra and breathing and
No,
visualization? And are you
no.
practicing it? I mean, because
Yeah.
if it's really deep, I just kind of wonder how you're helping
Yeah.
change that behavior.
So with me, no affirmations, no mantras, no anything. It's like kind of like therapy, and I'm calling that like a SEO therapy because it's in the conversation. I'm asking questions, and then we are together discovering, because like like I can't know something that happened like in their past. So but I'm able, and I have that skills that I have learned, that we are questioning all this situation, and then we are getting that. Usually what is coming to the surface is some situations in the past from their childhood, when they were disappointed, like when their parents did, for example, some, and like it doesn't need to be like too hard, but like in that specific moment it impact inner child, and like small child that we were 20-30 years ago, in the different that they will change the way how they see the world.
I see. So have you discovered that some folks with imposter syndrome, there's also a correlation between that and having the right mix of soft skills to be successful? Are you
Hmm. It's not so much correlated, because we know a lot of successful people who are having great soft skills, great leadership skills, but they are not working on their mindset in terms of discovering their feelings, why they are feeling like that, or something like that. So definitely working on your mindset will help you with your soft skills, because you will be aware more about yourself, why you are doing something in a specific way. Again, if you are struggling with doing something, reaching, asking for help, also you will be aware why. And we are changing that, but it doesn't need to be like connected. So I would say like working on your mindset will help you, but again, like there is a difference, like working on your mindset and working on your imposter syndrome,
mm,
because part of the working on your mindset is imposter syndrome, but it will help you to easier gain soft skills, because you are becoming why all these things that is happening to you, but doesn't mean that you will be like great leader or something like that if you just fix your imposter syndrome. It means more that you will feel good about yourself, and then if you decide that you really want to increase your leadership skills, perfect, but also it doesn't need to be connected so much.
yeah, I was totally thinking of this the other day because I'm reading Never Split the Difference along with the Women in Tech SEO book club.
Oh, nice.
And particularly he was talking about one of the key successes to negotiation is making sure you can control your emotions. That's the part I
Mm-hmm.
was connecting. I was like, I wonder if people are working on controlling your emotions in the heat of the moment, right? That's as I'm sort of discovering all the soft skills out there, I just put a pin in it. I was like, that's the soft skill too. Um, anyway, and I don't know if people are it's emotional, right? I don't know if everyone's
Yeah,
working on it.
because in the end, it's emotional. It's just like the level of emotion you are and you want to be. Also, people are struggle to work on their emotions, because like it can be very painful, and like you need then overcome all these emotions. But definitely, what I'm seeing, like if you know how to control your emotions, but in the way that you're not ignoring them, like a lot of people are just like ignoring them emotions and just like continue to work, 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 work. Uh, Maybe you will survive. Definitely you will survive, but kind of like with the consequence. I can't know like what kind of consequence you will handle, like just ignoring your emotions. What I can see, controlling your emotions, that you are discovering them and you are aware of them, will actually help you to overcome some, for example, stressful situations, like reduce the pressure on your work. And that is the power in that moment, not just like ignoring them and like moving forward.
That makes tons of sense to me. Um, so how do your clients know when they've successfully tackled their imposter syndrome?
It's in the feeling, and I would say like there is no day when you are saying, yeah, I overcome imposter syndrome, because like all these clients that are working on their imposter syndrome and on their mindset, they are also very successful, and they are kind of like they are every month, every week, like they are kind of a new level. So with a new level, you are getting like new kind of like situations. So it's just like overcoming new situations and growing, because like if you are just not doing anything about your imposter syndrome or not doing anything about your mindset, you are kind of in this one, in the one stage.
Yeah.
So there is you can reach your kind of like confidence that when you're feeling good enough, but you will not stop, because once you are on that level, you want next level. So we are always working on your growing.
Particularly in our industry. I'm always like, I'll read something by Mike King and be like, oh my Lord, I have so much more stuff to do.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, because with every learning, like we are discovering some new things that we don't know.
Yeah.
But that, I would say like that is a difference when you know that you don't know something and you want to know, but not from the feeling that you are not good enough, because you want to feel that you are curious and that you want to learn more. And then when you feel this difference, then you can say that you kind of like practice your brain, you train your brain to actually switch the focus from one thing to another thing and move forward. And you're feeling that like after any session, like my clients are feeling different. They are aware, like we are constantly learning about these brain patterns that are happening in our head. And like it's so interesting to say, but actually the results are visible in your body. You're feeling different.
Hmm. So let's just pause for a second and dig into that a little bit more, since the the bloody industry changes so quickly, and
Mm-hmm.
especially this last fall, it feels overwhelming. And I remember I was watching, I don't know, it was an SMX Next maybe presentation or something, and the presenter was like, they'd run a survey. They're like, listen, all of us are feeling that way, right? Which obviously gives you some perspective. You're like, okay, my friends in the industry feel like I do. It's a common thing. Nobody feels like we're on top of it. Okay, that helps a little. But in general, how do you help your SEO folks be okay with the pace and that there's always new stuff?
Yeah.
And what do you coach them to say if a client asks them about something that's brand
Mhm.
new?
Yeah, overwhelming can come like from different perspectives. People just like context switching, like doing different things on your day, putting like so many different activities. So yeah, overwhelming is not something that only people with imposter syndrome are experiencing. So
Yeah. So what do you do with confidence in particular? So how do you build somebody's confidence? I have a few ideas I've attempted to try with mentees. But do you have any
mhm.
tips?
Yeah. So basically, confidence is a consequence of all these like mindset things that we are working. Like people would like to feel confident, but besides that, they will more likely to feel good about themselves. So once you are feeling good about yourself, you don't have like self doubts, you don't have kind of like misconceptions for the decisions. You know your core values, you know your core beliefs, you're familiar with like what you want, how you want to achieve it. Then even like when you are communicating, you are very clear about these things. Once you are feeling good about yourself, you will say no to extra things about anything like that. And then like the result is confidence, but there are so many different factors that you need to build to get and feel real confident. I wouldn't say like I'm like I will not say like yeah I'm confident. I will say like yeah I'm feeling good about myself. I'm feeling good enough. So
Oh, that's a perfect answer. I think I was trying to shortcut it with my mentee. So it's good to hear that it's involves a lot of emotional work before you end up getting to that end state. So just a final questions I ask everybody: is there something? So as marketers, we're constantly thinking about your audience, and have you recently had an aha moment about your audience that surprised you?
um hmm I can't think about it because like my target audience, I would say like it's very specific SEO professionals like I am, with a between like 3 to 10 years of experience. S- in the end, we are all the same. We are all the same. We are just having different companies, different projects, different clients, different managers, but our problems are the same. So I didn't have like any aha moments recently. I think, yeah.
And do you just support SEOs? Because I know you have a pay-per-click background too.
Yeah, for now, just like SEOs, I'm feeling that since I'm SEO manager myself, I'm feeling that just like I can help the most SEOs. Any people from the another background are welcomed. It's just like the way how I maybe targeted myself for SEOs, but like all people who are watching my videos, they are saying like, yeah, that is like aligned with any other industries. So it's just the way how I started. I wanted to start like small, help my people. Maybe in the future I will help like even like PPC digital marketers because the processes are the same and like so
Okay. And what win or resource do you have to share with our audience, our listeners?
mm, resources regarding what I have tons of resources.
Oh, imposter syndrome and confidence and mindset, all that.
Okay, yeah, I think imposter syndrome, like where I where I learned the like the most of the processes for imposter syndrome is Byron Katie's work. Byron Katie, she wrote tons of the books, but her approach about the work, I took it like for imposter syndrome. So people who really want to work on it, please watch her tons of the videos. Also on my YouTube channels, you have like fix imposter syndrome free training. And I'm always saying like people don't go broad, just like take one approach and try and go with it because like you're just like taking small steps from there, then like you will be confused. So for imposter syndrome, Byron Katie is perfect.
Great, cool. And how can people learn more about you?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn every day. Also, I have my YouTube channel. I just started last year. So I think these two platforms are the best. So for people who want to work with me or see how one coaching session looks like, they can find me on LinkedIn and send me a message.
Great. And we'll have a link to her LinkedIn and YouTube channel in the show notes. It was great having you on the show. Thank you so much for sharing your background and your experience.
Thank you so much for Catherine for inviting me.
Thanks so much for listening. To find out more about the podcast and what we're up to, go to digitalmarketingvictories.com. And if you like what you heard, subscribe to us on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. Rate us, comment, and share the podcast, please. I'm always looking for new ideas, topics, and guests. Email us at digitalmarketingvictories@gmail.com or DM us on Twitter at DMVictories. Thanks for listening.